Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here. Today, we're talking about how to deal with dumb coaches or just coaches that don't really know what they're talking about. As a player, how do you deal with that? So we're going to get into that in a second. Before we do, today's video is sponsored by Rocket Sports. Rocket makes top quality baseball equipment. We use a bunch of their stuff with our Antonelli baseball teams. Go ahead in the description box below, click the link there. It's going to take you over to their site. You're going to be able to get 15% off of your first order. I highly recommend you check it out. Okay, so as a player, this is a question I get a lot. Okay, it's how do you deal with coaches that may not be the greatest coaches, right? And this can be anything from hitting to pitching to defense to really anything. But it typically goes like this, right? You've got a coach, and the coach says, hey man, when you hit, you gotta hit down on the ball. We're gonna chop down at the ball, we're gonna stay on top of the ball, we're gonna drive the ball down into the ground, we're gonna try to hit the ball down off the plate, get it to bounce over the infielders' heads, okay? I don't know why I'm giving him a southern accent. When I think of baseball coaches, a lot of times I think of southern accents. I don't know why. It probably doesn't sound anything like that, but you may have had a coach that says something like that, right? Where you're, as a player, you're just like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, this is totally wrong. Like, everyone knows this is wrong, right? But he doesn't. Coach does not know this is wrong, okay? So what do you do as a player? Do you just do what he says, even though you know it's completely wrong? Do you talk to him? Do you do the opposite? What do you do, okay? And so I've got kind of three options. From my experience, I've kind of gone through these three different options, and I think they could be helpful to you, okay? So the first option that we're going to talk about is just talking with your coach and giving him your perspective and your thought on things. Now, this is going to depend a little bit on your coach and the relationship you have. So if you have a really good relationship with your coach and you feel like he may be open to a conversation, then go for it, okay? I always think this is the first thing and the biggest thing to make sure you're on the same page as the coach. So just talk to the coach and say, Coach, I hear what you're saying, but, I've tried that before. I've done that in the past. It really hasn't worked for me. And this is the way that this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about getting on plane with the pitch. I'm thinking about getting my barrel behind the ball because, I'm not going to go into it all today, or right now, but give them the reasons for what you're thinking, what you're doing, why you think it'll work, and just talk it out with them. Just have a conversation with the coach, okay? He may say, you know what? I hear you, and let's try it. Let's go for it, okay? You may also have a coach that says, I said to swing down on the ball, son. I don't care what you think. You might have that coach right there too, okay? And if you think you've got that kind of coach, maybe you don't go with option one, maybe you go with option two. Or maybe you just give it a try, and when you realize that, okay, this conversation's going nowhere, then you can try to go to option two, okay? So that's option one. Just talk it out with your coach, all right? And I've had this situation happen to me in the past. I've had it happen a couple times. The first time around when I was with the Padres, I just did everything the coach said, no matter what they said, right? One coach says swing down, the next coach says swing up. You go, okay. The next guy, swing up, okay. They say swing flat, okay. They say open stance, okay. They say closed stance, okay. You just say okay to everything, and then you don't know what you're doing. You forget how to hit, okay? So you don't want to do that. And so what I did when I got to the Nationals, I've told this story before, is that I had a conversation. Now, the conversation didn't go great, and maybe it was because I didn't really have a relationship with the coach yet. I was kind of new to the organization, and it was like the first couple days at spring training, and basically with the Padres, I was always a hitter that was spread out, kind of low to the ground, didn't have a big stride, felt really comfortable. There was a point in my career there where they tried to do the opposite. They tried to kind of bring my feet closer together, have me stand up taller, have me take a bigger stride, and I really struggled with it, all right? And so when I went to the Nationals, I said, if anything ever happens like that again, I'm going to talk to the coach, right? I'm just going to let him know kind of what I feel comfortable with. And what do you know, a few days in, After hitting, the coach calls me over. Our hitting coordinator says, hey, listen, man, I want to bring your feet closer together. I want to stand you up tall. I want to give you a bigger stride. And in my head, I'm going, oh, no. Like, I've done all this, and it doesn't work for me. So I think about it for a quick second, and I decide right then and there, I'm going to have a conversation with Coach. So I did. I said, Coach, I really appreciate this, but I want to give you a little bit of quick background on myself. And I tell him the story about how exactly what I just told you, right? And I said, I really feel comfortable a little bit wider with a smaller stride. And I even said to him, I said, listen, if I could just have a couple days to just see if I can get comfortable with this and make it work. And if it doesn't, then I'll be happy to kind of switch my stance up and everything. And he says, okay, cool, yeah, sounds great. And I'm like, wow, that was really, really easy. And then the next day, my agent called me and he said, what the hell did you do? And I said, what do you mean, what the hell did I do? And he said, I just got a call from the front office and they're saying you're uncoachable and you don't want to take any coaching, you don't listen to anybody. And I was like, oh, geez, I guess I messed up. Option 1 was not a good idea, okay? But there's been other times in my career where I've had that talk and it's been it's worked out really, really well. So that's option 1, okay? Option 2. I learned option 2 from Sean Wooten. Sean Wooten's now a Major League hitting coach for the Los Angeles Angels. Sean was my teammate, a friend of mine, became a hitting coach and obviously worked his way up. And now he's in the big leagues. And so when I was playing, I talked to Sean, and it was kind of going through this whole thing. And I asked him the same question. I said, what do you do when a coach tries to tell you to do something that you know is wrong or you just don't, you really just don't want to do? You've tried it before, it doesn't work. Whatever, and you can't have the number 1 option. They're just not open to it. I said, what do you do? And he said, basically, you fake it. You go like this. So you're hitting, and you take a swing, and the coach says, hey, man, I said you have to hit down on the ball, swing down on the ball, and chop the ball into the plate. And you go, yes, coach, absolutely. And then you get up there and you take your swing however you want it. You just better hit a hard ball, hit a hard line drive somewhere, right? And you flush that thing up and you crush it and you say, coach, that works so well. Thank you so much for that advice. Thank you. It's great. It feels awesome. I love it. And you just pretend like you basically did what the coach said, even though you did the exact opposite. Now, some coaches you'll fool and they'll be like, hell, he didn't look like he chopped down on the ball, but that ball was smoked. Like, I won't say anything. Great swing. Thanks for listening, right? Some coaches might say that. It could be the coach that says, hey, man, that was not chopping on the ball. Chop down on the ball. Okay, and then you go, sorry, coach, sorry, I'll try it again. And then you smoke another one, and you go, there it is right there, coach. Thank you so much. I feel it. I feel myself chopping right down on that ball, and I swear that's why I got the backspin and the carry on the line drive. Thank you. And you just play again like you're really trying, right? And most coaches will be like, well, he seems like he's open, he seems like he's trying, and he hit the ball pretty well, so I'm just going to back off now. I'm not going to keep. Now, if the coach keeps going, then we'll go to option 3 maybe. But most coaches will just kind of be like, okay, like he seems like a good guy and he seems like he's trying and he may not be doing what I'm asking, but, I'll let it slide. And I've had that happen before, okay? So I have tried this after I talked to Sean. I've tried this a couple times. And usually you can get it right past people, okay? You just got to the key to option 2 is you've got to hit well. Like if you go up there and you take your swing and you don't hit the ball well, the coach is going to get all over you about chopping down on the ball, okay? So just make sure you hit well. If you hit well, then that coach most coaches just be like, okay, we'll let him go. All right, so that's option 2. Now, option 3 is find a new coach. Just get rid of that coach, right? And this is not always an easy option to do. Sometimes you can't do this option, but I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. Do your research before you choose a team, okay? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going to start talking in a southern accent right now, even though I'm not trying to. Do your research and try to find a team where whether you're a pitcher, hitter, whatever, that the philosophy of the coach matches up with yours, okay? So if you're a pitcher, right, and you're looking at a college program, and you know what you have done to be successful, whether it's like a weighted ball program or maybe it's just a certain pitching mechanics. Well, when you're talking to the coach during the recruiting process, make sure that you're kind of on the same page. You don't want to go there and then all of a sudden you've got the guy that would pitching-wise would be the chop down on the ball guy, and you've got him and you're like, oh no, I've got 4 years with this guy. Like, do some research and make sure you talk and have a conversation and talk about their pitching philosophy and what they believe in and how they train pitchers, and talk to some of the pitchers or the hitters from the school and see what the practices are like and what they do. Okay, so that's really, really important. If it's like a travel ball team or something, same thing. You can do some research. You can talk to the coach before tryouts or after you made the team and just get their general thoughts and how they train players, develop players, and make sure you're on the same page. Now, you'll never be 100% on the same page. There's going to be something maybe that differs, but you'll get a pretty good idea if it's a coach that's like, it's my way or the highway, or this is what we believe in and this is all we believe in. Like, you'll start to get a feel for that, okay? And that way you can pick and choose, not just based on the program, but based on the coaching staff and their philosophy. Again, hitting, pitching, whatever. Now, there's going to be some teams where you just can't get away from it, right? Maybe it's just like your high school team, and you're just stuck with this coach. This happens all the time. I hear this from a bunch of our guys, our trial players. Like, my high school coach is just like, he teaches the opposite of everything you say, and I just can't hit for the guy. Well, that's tough. Again, you try option 1, option 2. Option 3, you can't get rid of them. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and just go. Maybe you get in a fight with the guy. Maybe you just say, listen, this usually doesn't work out well, right? Like, I'm doing it my way and I don't care what you say. That's probably not going to work out well with these coaches, so don't try that. But really, at that point, the only option is you transfer, you go to a different school, or you fight it out for 4 years, okay? There is no really option 4. At least I don't have one right now. If you've got a better option 4 for me that I didn't think of, let me know. But at that point, you've got to make a decision. Again, if it's a travel ball program, maybe you just leave and you go to a new travel ball program. High school gets a little bit tougher, but there is always the opportunity to maybe transfer something. And again, I've made videos on transferring and stuff like that, and I don't always agree with just running away from your problems. But there's certain situations that are just, it's never going to get better, right? And if you feel like you really cannot, like, I can't do it that way, and I've tried all these options and I just can't do it, then maybe the best option is to go and look someplace else. So, and again, this works with not all teams. Some teams are able to get out easier than others. But so hopefully that kind of helps you out a little bit. Try out options 1 and 2 first. Hopefully one of those 2 options will work. They typically do. Most guys, I don't think, get to option 3, but it does happen sometimes. And at that point, you're just going to have to do your best to find a better situation. So, again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Give it a thumbs up. Share the video with all your friends. All that good stuff. Leave a comment down below. Check out all our other videos. I've made thousands of them, so go and check those out. And that's all we got. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later.